welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. What am I doing today? Well, I'm headed back to the shop where a year ago tomorrow I bought the P Serial GMT Master 2. When I did that, they gave me this card that had a certain percentage of the purchase price points, and I've got 13,748 points to use by the end of the day or I lose them. Now, I've been here before. I bought this Casio. Didn't like it, didn't even wear it for months. Eventually, I came to really appreciate it, and I don't want to lose my points, so I'll pick up probably a couple Casios, perhaps. We'll see what they have. If they've got some Rolex swag, that'd be awesome. I wouldn't mind getting a Rolex box. Anyway, we're going to do that, but first, let's talk about some news in the watch world, in our watch community. If you've watched the Archie luxury live streams, you'll notice a new personality and a welcome win. Showcase Watches. I think the Archie live streams have been a little North American heavy, so he's a welcome addition. I like the guy. Now, link in the description to 2 videos of a fantastic watch he bought, a 16750. And the big news is it's gone. Within a couple days, a dealer saw his videos, came sniffing around, and paid him 3,000 pounds on top of what he paid, which was 8,000 pounds for that watch. We'll talk about whether it was a good move in a minute, but let's just talk about that watch. All right, so the 16750 came out in 1981 and ran until 1988. And it is the end of an era because when it came out, the GMT 16750 was the top of the line. It was the pinnacle of the GMT watches. And by the end of its run in 1988, the line had fractured, and it was being sold alongside the Fat Lady, the 16760, which came out in 1983. In 1989, they replaced what Showcase Watches had with the 16700. They added the sapphire crystal. The watch that Showcase Watches had the acrylic crystal, and they didn't make it for so long. It's not quite as collectible as the Fat Lady, but it's one of those watches you really want to hang on to. He will never find that watch for what he paid for it, 8,000 pounds. And in Japanese yen, that's 1,084,000 yen. And let's talk about whether it was a good move. All right, now, first of all, we love our watch channels because we talk watches, we see some watch porn, and we can learn something. The point of this is not to call him out, make him feel bad for what he did. It's just to perhaps have a discussion, and maybe you can take something away from it. When I've made bad decisions, I tell you so. I've got a Lumina with a pip in this sub, and I'm not too happy about it. I tell you that. So when you go to service your tritium dialed watches and you make decisions, you know this, okay? I wish somebody had pulled me aside and advised me, and that's what this is all about. So I don't want anybody to get upset. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just discussing what happened, okay? So was it a good move? All right, well, let's talk about it. All right, so he made 3,000 on that purchase, and if you look at it as how much money he made and how little effort he had to put forth, then I think you could say that, by 2020 standards, he did pretty damn well. But when you're talking watches and Rolex watches, you got to look at the long game, just like Rolex does in the planning of their models. You have to do that when you're buying your watches, and also, more importantly, when you're selling your watches, because what might have looked like a good move in 2020 might look like a bad move in 2030, all right? And in fact, I think it will. And let's look at some real life examples. Archie, the 1016, his very first Rolex, he sold it, I think he sold it for something like 8,000. I can't really quite remember, but now look at it. I mean, it's a purchase, it's a sale that he regrets, and he'll never be able to replace the 1016 for what he sold it for, and what looked like a good move back in the day is a regret. So the takeaway here is don't sell your steel professional Rolex watches. Don't do it. I think about it myself. I think, I'm such a GMT fan. I think, if I were to sell the Sub, sell the Explorer 2, and get another GMT, hey, that could work. Terrible move. Okay, first of all, I would miss the white dial. I'd miss the diver. It would be going from 2 unique watches to one of a kind of a watch that I already sort of have. But I think about it, and I never get close to pulling the trigger, but we can make really bad decisions by looking at the other side and looking at the green grass on the other side and thinking how good, a straight GMT would look, and perhaps even at the cost of something like this. Bad move, all right? So I see it, I see myself thinking about it, but we see mistakes when we see people try to sell their steel professional model watches. I bring up Don Haynes. He sold his all black ceramic GMT Master 2. And now, look, those shot up. They actually shot up to like 15, and they've sort of gone down to just above 10,000. But you still would want that watch because given enough time, that's going to go back up. The lesson here is don't sell your steel sports Rolexes. They're money in the bank, all right? They're good investment pieces, and always add, all right? Because if you think it's a good idea in 2020, it's not gonna be so good in 2025, and even worse in 2030. Now, a lot of people will probably say, the bubble, and if you're talking ceramic watches, all right, we're having a conversation there, but we're talking pre-ceramic 5-digit watches. They're not making those anymore. And let's talk about the actual deal. So he got $3,000 out of it. Now, prices in Japan are a little bit higher. His was a 1987 model. Beautiful, minty. It had been serviced. I think it had the service papers, not sure about the regular papers. If it does, that's very valuable, because the older the watch, the more important those papers are. If you're talking a 6-digit, well, I expect papers, and if it doesn't have papers, that's kind of weird. That's a modern watch, but this watch is over 30 years old, and so papers add quite a bit of value to that watch. And according to Caseback, it had an original bezel insert, it had the original bracelet. It looks so minty that I almost question that. You'd have to look at the bezel code to figure that out, and that's not something you want to ask about. That's kind of getting up in somebody's business a little bit too much, unless you're trying to buy the watch. But it was a beautiful example, all right, a beautiful example. And the two that are selling for 200 USD more, 1,100,000 yen and 1,100,000, I want to say 30,000 yen. One of them is an orphan, no box, no papers, who knows what has been replaced on it. And the other one is has a replacement dial, has a Swiss dial. So to really price these, we got to look at something comparable. And for 1,270,000 yen, you can get one that's 2,000 more than what he paid, but I want to say it doesn't have box or papers, and it's got Luminova hands. The hands have been replaced. So I know prices are higher in Japan, but that watch in Japan would probably be 1,000 or 2,000 or even more than what that dealer who came sniffing around paid him. So did he make a good move? It's not what I would have done, right? That's a polite way to say it. Hell no, I wouldn't have done that, okay? But everybody has their different priorities, and look, by 2020 standards, he could have done well. And he has an Explorer. He put that money into an Explorer 39 millimeter Mark 1 dial, and so it's as if he got an Explorer for $2,000. Again, in 10 years, will he look back on this as a good move? I don't think so. And what am I saying in this video? What's the whole point of it? Well, don't sell your steel professional watches, okay? Especially the 5 digits. And the older the watch and the better the example, the less you want to do it, because they're not making these things anymore. And whatever they're selling for now, they're going to be selling for more in 5 years, more in 10 years. Again, whether it's a big bubble is a debate that we love having. I made a wonderful video that was very entertaining about a gentleman that thinks that you're going to be able to get these GMT Master 2s for like $4,000 down the road. Love that video. Link in the description. Check it out. I don't think that's the case. It's like predicting stocks, but I don't think it's that hard. Stocks are hard. Rolexes are pretty easy. So anyway, it was a beautiful example. It was a beautiful watch while it lasted, and he's like on his 30th Rolex, so while he doesn't claim to be a flipper, all right, man, your history kind of shows otherwise. And look, at the end of the day, if you're not losing money, then maybe it's not a bad move. Let me know what you think. Would you have done it? Let's go buy some Casio watches. Probably the best thing in the store, a box and papers, 14060 no date sub. And this is a U serial, so 97 or 98. This has a tritium dial, so probably 97. Give me that tritium insert. And a V serial pre-ceramic date sub. This would be from 2008, 2009. It's got the card, but no box. But it would be pretty easy to source a box. And you can see the engraved rehaut. And this is a 36mm Explorer. This is an F serial box and papers. F serials came out 2003, 2004, 2005. And a two-tone date just card, no box, white Roman dial. And notice they've lowered the price. And those sports models, those 3 sports models that preceded this, were not discounted, but they've knocked about 300 USD off this piece. You'll see other discounts scrawled in red, like here. This is a two-tone diamond dial date just Jubilee dial, Jubilee bracelet. And these discounts give you an idea of how the store perceives the desirability of these watches. I gotta say, it's tough working with Casio money and seeing these Rolex watches. Way out of my price range. I've got about $130 to work with. Getting there with this Oris, but still way too shy for that. This is a Hamilton chronograph. It's got a really busy dial. It's about the same price as the Oris. I think if I had the points for that, I'd sooner go Oris. Oh, I just noticed it's quartz. Oh, to hell with that. All right, a box and papers Tag Heuer. Is anybody surprised they've scrawled a discount on this? You could probably get more of a discount. My guess is you could get it for an even 100,000, which is about 1,000 USD. You could probably get a smidgen of a discount on this as well. The 3 Omegas in the shop, 2 of which are discounted about 100 USD. That's a quartz diver. In the middle, that's another quartz diver. And then the one that's not discounted is an automatic. So perhaps that says something about the desirability of quartz Seamasters. A spring drive Grand Seiko. You can't discount a source of national pride. Actually, I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Could. But they've shaved a bit off this Longines World Time. It evokes memories of the Pontiff's very own World Time.
Horrid! Absolutely horrid!
Got the points for it, but no. The Timex Q is much better. There's this quartz monstrosity, and the only thing worse than using my points to buy this would be if somebody were to come in and use their own money for it. And speak of the devil, horological sin incarnate. How, pray tell, do you use that 24-hour bezel? It's a 3-hander. This could make an ideal gift for Don Haynes. 4 stunning pieces to go with one of my mini Adidas tracksuits. And we've hit the big time, boys. The world is my oyster. I've got the points to rock. And I bet you never thought you'd be so happy to see some low-end Casios. All right, hiding here was this pre-owned solar-powered radio control Casio. Picked that up, and I wanted to get one of these as well. The white accents, wasn't so crazy about the green strap here. And the red accents, yes, I went with that one. I'll leave you with this. This is a fantastic watch for a woman. It's got a rotating bezel, Yachtmaster, beautiful size. It is a cool girl that wears this watch.
They're just awful, pungent watches. Watches.